Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Breakdown, Week 11, with your not-so-humbling gambling degenerate, Ben. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for stopping by. We took a break last week due to Thanksgiving, and I hope everybody had a good one, because I know I did. We had I think 4 different Thanksgivings between family and friends, and I have yet to go to the gym, so we'll see if we can make that happen for yours truly very soon. We are live at Neon Parrot Live at the Majestic Studios, a.k.a. the Majestic Coffee Shop, where you can get a really tasty beverage, which I have here. And because due to timing and everything, I'm going to get to my college football very shortly. However, we have what we do here now. Every week of this football season, we call in our native Chi-Town Bears fan, Big Frank, every Thursday. And I'm going to do that now soon, very soon. We will have the software and technology to simulcast his beautiful face right into your screen in your living rooms. Now, I will, if you'll just give me a moment, be patient with me, Breakdown listeners. I am just gonna give Big Frank a ring, and we're gonna go all across the board with Big Frank. I want to talk about our Thursday night pick as well, but he's gonna be pretty upset.
Hello.
Big Frank,
What's up, man? How are you?
hey man, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing fine down here. How about you? How was your holiday? You have a good Thanksgiving?
You know, I did. We had a bunch of them. It sounds like you had a couple of them, too. I do love Thanksgiving for that. You get to kind of do it with the friends and the fam, you know.
Absolutely. Football and eating. What's better to do?
That's right. That's right. Except for the other little problem I was telling a gentleman I just met is the NFL makes me drink, I think, more than anything else in my life.
Blame it on that, right?
That's right. So let's talk Bears. Hit me with it.
Well, you were able to see it. You know, that was on national television, and the whole country, you know, got to see what's been going on down here, which was absolutely unbelievable. You know, you were watching that game as a fan, Ben, okay? You're not any connection to the Bears other than, you know me, it's not your team. And you're watching that go down at the end of the game. What are you thinking right there? Like, what aren't you screaming at your television set, hey, call your timeout?
Everybody was. I mean, how do you not do that? I'm sitting there with my dad, and he's just like, he just said Jenna and Big Frank have to be freaking out right now.
Oh my God, you're watching that, and it's almost like, you know, it's not like you want to, you get upset and you want to break the television or whatever. You're just looking at it, and our mouths were open, and we're like dumbfounded, and we go, it's kind of like that when something happens, you kind of like just think about it for like about 10 or 15 seconds and go, what just happened here? I mean, did that really happen? Was that going on? And they pan to him, and he looks like a deer in a headlight. He has no idea what's going on. And then you listen to all of the, experts in the shows, because, again, it's national televised, and everybody's just talking about how could a coach do that? You know, it's just like it's unbelievable that it happened, but unfortunately, that's not the first time it's happened. That's the first time the nation probably got to be able to see it because it's a national televised game. But that's at least the third time in the last 5-6 games that his decisions at the end of the game cost us the chance to either go into overtime and the other 2 times to actually win a game, and to see him still be here at that point. And, everybody knew it, Thursday night, everybody knows it's just a matter of time. And then they even bundled his firing. And next day they let the guy go on his morning, they always, every coach does it the day after a game. He has his press conference he did it by Zoom at 9:00, and all they did is kept on peppering him with, "Are you still the head coach? And what's your focus?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm focusing on the 49ers and everything." And he ends his conference after 20 minutes, and then 2 hours later, you find out he's fired, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, they kind of let him hang out to dry there, but it's mind-boggling to see that happen. And again, like I said, that's not the first time. That's just the first time everybody else was able to see it.
Yeah, and then he doubles down, and he's like, "No, I think we made the right decision there." With it's just
well, and then,
how the hell.
All the local stuff, I'm sure you read about it and everything, but now you hear more about it. I guess after the game, Jalen Johnson, who's been one of his most he's not afraid to talk about it. He's our star cornerback that we have, excellent football player. Apparently, he went off big time, and Eberflus had to leave the locker room and go to his office because he was just screaming out of his mind, like, how could you do that? You get all kinds of quotes from players thinking, like, we did enough to win the game, but, it just didn't happen. So there's a lot more. And then there's apparently that happened before again, where they were questioning some of his end game management in previous games, so it's it made the day after a lot easier because you knew this guy was going to get fired at the end of the year, but why wait till the end of the year to do it and just get him out of there now and try to, the biggest thing that they need to concentrate now is in making sure that Caleb Williams progresses like he should. And I'm a firm believer that this kid's going to be a phenomenal quarterback. You take a look at our last 3 games. We've played Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit, and each game came down to the last seconds, and we could have won every single one of those games if we were managed right. Our MO is we start off slow as an offense, but our defense is always pretty strong. We're not really good at stopping the run, so they'll march down the field and we'll hold them to a field goal. Just like the Lions game was 16-0 at halftime, and you're watching that game and you're thinking, man, this could be a blowout. The second half could be, over, and this is what we do. We come back in the second half, and I don't know if they just let Caleb Williams play or if he just decides, hey, I'm just going to start doing what I can do best or whatever, and winds up always coming down to the last possession. He'll score. So, now the big question down here is who do we hire to take this to the next level? So
I've been hearing rumors of, Kyle Shanahan has a new contract that he has to get done with the Niners. So I mean, I know that's a long shot, but, part of me is like Mike Vrabel. There needs to be a culture change. There needs to be somebody like Dan Campbell did in Detroit. If you can do it in Detroit, you can do it in Chicago.
Yeah. And the hot name down here is, you talk about the Lions, their offensive coordinator. I believe his name is Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, yeah.
That's a big one. And apparently rumor has it that the reason why he didn't, he was coveted last year, he had at least 3 or 4 offerings from what I understand, but he wants to go into the right situation where, a good quarterback, good roster. And that's the other thing you take a look at us, Ben. We have a lot of good players on our roster on offense. Usually when you draft a quarterback number 1, you're one of the worst teams in the league, 1 win, 2 win, 3 win. We got 7 or 8 wins last year or whatever it was. We had a great defense. Defense is always good down here. And then you got all these weapons now on the offensive side. And, going into our break this year, we were 4-2. They were talking playoffs down here.
Yeah.
And then we come out with 6 losses in a row. And again, not to beat a dead horse, a lot of that's coaching, towards the end. And I think just a lot of times over these last 3 or 4 games, these guys just don't want to play for him anymore because they knew he was gone anyway. So it's like, let's get rid of him now and, start working towards next year.
Absolutely.
So, and I'll tell you another name, Ben, I'd love for them to talk to, and you know this more too because he was with your Raiders, and he can come back in the NFL, is John Gruden.
Oh.
And I'm telling you, I guess all of his legal issues with the NFL and all that stuff he had about the racist remarks and everything, it was more said in jest or whatever,
Right,
guys
right.
when they get together. But all of his lawsuits are dropped, I guess, and he can come back in and he's starting.
Wow.
I would go absolutely bonkers if we went after a guy like that, because what does he do? He knows quarterbacks. He had that quarterback show. He knows how to run an offense. He run a world champion. He was doing great with the Raiders until that stuff came up. So there's another one that I would seriously. You mentioned Mike Vrabel. He's another big name that they're looking at, and they've got time, and it's just. But you don't know if they're going to get it right either, because they bumbled coaching. We haven't had a head coach out here last more than 3 years since the Lovie Smith era, and that guy was pretty good coach. They had him for 10 years, and they fired him the last year when he went 10-6, but he didn't make the playoffs. But it just so happens that there were other teams a little bit better. If you win 10 games, 95% of the time you're going to go to the playoffs. So, but they decided to move on from him, and ever since then, the max guy that's ever lasted was 3 years. So you're constantly retooling and starting all over again, and it's just a disaster. So
absolutely. So what I think, so you got the Niners next, correct?
Yeah, we got them Sunday in San Francisco.
So at this point, like when you're not going to the playoffs, these guys tend to, like when the coach gets fired, they either like completely fall apart or they kind of huddle up closer around the campfire, And so I think what could be cool is if the Bears go ahead and win some games, because they're just playing for each other over the next several weeks,
After that, again, you got to look at it here, Ben. We have not gotten blown out.
No,
the only really out was the Arizona game, and that was after that Hail Mary absolute debacle.
Yeah,
that you can believe that was happening.
That's where it all started.
But they're in it every single game, and they could win a game. You could take a high school coach and put him on the field and just manage the game at the end, and you'd have 3 wins right now.
Absolutely.
So it's not like it's a bad team, and then they just all of a sudden they've gotten re-energized. I mean, it's just as an organization, it's just a mess up. Take a look at the guy that's their head coach now. I believe his name is Thomas Brown. 5 weeks ago, this guy's job title with the Bears was passing game coordinator. Okay. Just a regular job that they give anybody that probably somebody knows, okay? And then he goes from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator to now the head coach in less than 5 weeks. Talk about a resume builder right there, huh? And eventually everybody likes him. Caleb Williams has played his best since he's called the plays, since we got rid of the Shane Waldron experiment, which was a disaster too, So now it's just about continuing to do what we're doing. We'll stay in games, and then hopefully at the end, whether you win or lose now, it really doesn't matter. You're not technically eliminated from the playoffs, but you might as well forget about it because it ain't going to happen. But see this kid develop and get better as he goes, and he has been, So that's where it's at now down here. So.
Well, I think this is going to go in the right direction because that coach just had to go, and man, how cool would a Gruden be or a Vrabel? I just hope they don't do another weird hire.
You can't go with another. You can't go with another first timer like this Eberflus was. He was a defensive coordinator, never been a head coach. I think you need somebody with either a great offensive mind that's been a good coordinator, or an experienced head coach that has, a lot of offensive background to try to, write this thing and get it going and have some continuity where you're going to be here for more than 1 or 2 years. And then after 2 years looking, if he doesn't win this year, we're going to have to change him. I'd love to be, someone like a Pittsburgh Steelers where you got Mike Vrabel and you got, Harbaugh out in Baltimore. They've had these coaches for years, and, you're not going to win it every year, but you're pretty much in the playoffs either every year or every other year, and you're kind of building like a winning culture. Is what we want, and that's what we kind of hope that we have down here, because this 2 to 3 years change every 2 to 3 years just isn't cutting it,
That's right.
It's not, and so for the first time since Red Grange era, we have a quarterback down here that really looks like he can be good. I am totally unbelievably happy with the pick and taking Caleb Williams. Everybody was, either he was or he wasn't, everybody always has their opinions, but you talk to people and you see him play. This kid has it, especially with all the stuff that they've been throwing at him. I mean, all these coordinators and head coaching changes to see him do. I mean, he broke the record, I guess. He hasn't thrown an interception in over 200 passes or something for a rookie. And, he's showing what he can do. And I think he's only going to get better. So,
Absolutely. Well, I got high hopes for this weekend, and we'll get you on next week, and maybe we'll have some more news on a coach or some interviews or something.
Correct. Yeah. Well, the latest thing now down here too is, and I touched on it. There was a couple articles coming out now local. They found out Harbaugh was actually interested in the Bears job and reached to the Bears last year. And Ryan Poles, our general manager, was interested, but we hired Kevin Warren, who used to be the Big Ten commissioner, to be our football president last year. And apparently him and Harbaugh don't get together, and he nixed the idea. And so we didn't even interview him.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's
just show you what you're dealing with over here is not necessarily trying to get the best guy, but, you're going to start letting your ego and stuff get in the way. Like, they didn't get along and you don't even go after somebody like that. I'm not too convinced or have too much confidence that we're going to do this the right way again. You know what I mean? So
yeah. We can keep our fingers crossed for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So it'll be a fun, few weeks here to see where everything's going to go. So.
Well, Big Frank, good luck.
All right.
And we'll be talking to you next week. We'll see what happens.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.
All right. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, okay. Like I always say, show's over. Don't need anything else after Big Frank. That covered everything we need to know on this program. Wow. He's just a trove of knowledge, and it's just so cool to have him as a part of the breakdown. And, man, the Bears. So we started with the Bears today on this program. That's pretty wild. Damn. That's to believe that they talked to John Harbaugh or they didn't even interview him because of the nature of the relationship of the Big Ten guy and everything. What a waste. That's tough because John Harbaugh is killing it in San Diego or Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Chargers, one of the 10 teams that are now in the Los Angeles area. Man, what a thing money will do. Okay, let's bring it back into show format, what we normally do here, which is we start with college football. Thanks again to Big Frank. That was a hell of a breakdown for the Bears. And my pick for the Bears-Niners game, you got Christian McCaffrey is hurt with looks like a season-ending knee injury. I think McCaffrey's peaked. I think that this team has peaked. I think the San Francisco 49ers are about to go on full-blown meltdown, rebuild. Brock Purdy, the quarterback, is mediocre at best. He's pedestrian. He's Purdy good. But anyways, this team and Kyle Shanahan, I mean, there's rumors that he could potentially be a potential Bears head coach. I'm sure they're going to interview him. He has to restructure a contract. But, the Niners, I think they're about to draw their last breath. You got to strike. You got to win that Super Bowl when the getting's good. And that was last year and I think the year before. So I think it's about to be over for those guys. They're still incredibly talented, but the window of an NFL franchise, unless your name is Kansas City Chiefs and you have like Taylor Swift's witchcraft on your franchise, you can sleepwalk through victories. And, God, that pisses me off. But that's okay. Good for them. But, yeah, the Niners, I think the Bears have a chance this coming weekend to and what I was talking to about Big Frank on when you fire a coach mid-season, chances are he lost the locker room. So he loses the locker room. And these guys, once he's out, they're going to say, all right, are we going to just lay down and die? Are we going to huddle up around a campfire and sharpen our swords and go out and take freaking heads? And the first head, the first scalp, is the scalp of Shanahan and the Niners. This weekend, put your bankroll on it. That's a win. Chicago Bears win Sunday. Bet on it. I'm going to bet on it. But fade me, as we always say. Might want to. Okay, so we're going to go back and forth and all around today. This is week 11. Very cool. So let's talk local for our regional sports people that listen to this program. ACU football, huge victory last week. They shut out Northern Arizona 24-0. That is the first Division I playoff win in the history of Abilene Christian University. So I've been hyping these guys all year. Now, this is where I say, I told you so, but I won't. I'm just going to say, I told you so. I knew this was going to happen. All my guys here, since day one over there in the desk, I've been betting Big Purple. I've only missed on 2 picks of their season. And those are the only 2 losses that they've had all year. And those were very close. So Maverick MacGyver actually went down with an injury on this shutout. And I'll have to look tomorrow whenever they get out their injury reports and whatnot. But they had the backup come in and kick ass. So, that just tells you that, even their backup can handle, a really important playoff win. So, first Division I playoff in the school's history. And this is where Ben's nervous. I think all the Wildcat faithful are going to be nervous this weekend because they're going to make a 1,150-mile journey to Fargo, North Dakota to face number 2 North Dakota State. North Dakota State is a real program. Those people, it's not like McNeese or Jimmy Lipper freaking Polytech. This is North Dakota State. It's freaking cold up there. I don't know if they play in a dome or if they have to. But that's a trip. That's not like going to Alabama. That's not like, going in some of these southern areas that ACU and Tennessee, some of these areas that ACU have traveled in. That's a serious haul. I'm nervous, but I also think that there's, much like the Taylor Swift witchcraft that just floats the Kansas City Chiefs to victory. I think that Abilene Christian just may have God on their side here, folks. But I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. But I definitely think this is cool. There's something to this. There is a momentum that these guys are there's a wave that they're surfing on right now. And I'll have to look next week, but I don't know how many playoffs games it takes to get to the championship here. But this will be number 2. There's going to be watch parties around town. I was looking up. There's going to be, obviously, at campus, they will be projecting this in their stadium. So I think you can, I don't know if that's a ticket purchase situation. I'm sure if you go to school there, you can go. But I think that they're going to allow citizens of the community to maybe purchase a ticket for probably a low price to go and watch the game on their big screen there. And then I would encourage, the local watering holes in Abilene to put this on, or the coffee shops, the watering holes. Tell your friends, let's support the ACU Wildcats football team because this is truly historic for our community. Okay, so Ben's pick. What do we always say? Go Big Purple. ACU wins. It might be close. It probably will be close. But I say victory for ACU and on to the next game. Hell yeah. Heavens, yes. Sorry, ACU people. Okay, moving on with my college football. College football is the Wild West more than it has ever been. I still am trying to figure out. It's a 12-team playoff situation, which is awesome because there's more competition. But over the weekend, there were some upsets. Oh boy, were there ever upsets? There was people, this is kind of funny, and I kind of love it, but it's dangerous. And so when you beat your rival team in college football, what they're doing now is you take your flag, you run it to the center of the field, and you plant it in the AstroTurf, which I don't even think they call it AstroTurf, but you plant it in the fake grass. It doesn't really plant that well unless, some of these guys are getting smart and putting spikes on the bottom of these flags. Then what happens is the opposing team, which you just humiliated on their home turf, comes out and tries to kick your ass. That's what happened. So the Ohio State-Michigan game is just one of these incidences over the weekend. Ohio State was a heavy favorite to beat Michigan. I took Ohio State. I lost. Michigan wins, and Michigan kid goes out. I say kid. These kids are big. Goes out with their flag, plants it in the turf in the middle of the Ohio State O, and then the Ohio State guys come out, and this is Gangs of New York style. These guys freaking clash, okay? It gets so bad to where coaches, players, and police officers are left bloodied and injured. And you have wow. The fights break out. The police deploy pepper spray or CS gas, whatever it is. And it was just a real mess. One police officer is in, the hospital due to injury from this brawl. So the flag planting was the big conversation over the weekend. And I don't know, I kind of love it because it's just kind of battle, old school, But here again, these guys are so big, and when you get like 30, essentially you have 60-plus people brawling on the middle of the field that are all wearing pads amongst a bunch of people that are much smaller than them that are not wearing pads. You know what I mean? Like coaches and athletic directors and, your old Aunt Sally that bought season tickets that's down there for the game of her life, and like people can get hurt. In college hoops, Loyola, that team has a 105-year-old nun that is their super fan. And she gets wheeled out in a wheelchair on their home games, and she's kind of their good luck charm. And, like, what happens if a fight breaks out or something around Sister Ann or whatever? Like, that could be really bad. So, I don't know. It could... Yeah, exactly. Don't sisters usually carry rulers? Yeah, she needs to carry her ruler and smack them. But oh yeah, and the good sister from Loyola last night, she was in her wheelchair and she was trying to give the fist bump to the walking players after their victory, and they didn't see her or something. And there's this video of her with her fist out. And then all these dudes are just walking past her, kind of gave her the snub. That was sad. We don't need that. Okay. The Aggies. My resident Aggie. I'm going to call him in a minute. He's usually asleep when I call him because he works the night shift. And then I call him and he's like, oh, what? So anyways, that would be kind of cool. It's kind of a shtick here on the program. But the Aggies lose to Texas. Ouch. At Kyle Field. I know of some people that went to that game, paid a lot of money, I'm sure, to go, you watch the Aggies get their ass kicked by the Longhorns. That is so harsh. And you're at home. You're at Kyle Field. I would think that would do something for you, but the last time these teams met was in 2011. That's how long ago that it was that they were in the same conference. And so they have not played this rivalry game and however many years that is. And guess what happened on the last meeting? Longhorns win. So I did pick that bet correctly. I did. God, the Michigan-Ohio State brawl. Okay, that wasn't the only brawl or fight that happened this weekend. Arizona State beat Arizona, I believe, and they're the Sun Devils, and they have like a what are those things called? That it's like a spear with the 3 prongs, a trident. So he goes to the middle of the field, plants their trident, and then a fight breaks out, and it's just this happened like 10 times on Saturday. So love it or hate it, people are going to get hurt. That's just part of it. I can't stop it. But I am going to see if he's awake. I'm going to say doubtful, but and then I'm going to go over some picks. Oh, that was his name. You got his name, folks. Okay. Oh, yeah, call again. Like, hey. Case's phone was on silent. That's a good point. Technical producer extraordinaire, Sammy. Oh, yeah, here he is. Hey.
Hey.
You're live on the breakdown with your not so humble hairdo. So I'm talking about what happened to your Aggies right now.
I have no comment. We have since hired Joe Biden's press secretary to speak for us going forward.
Oh, nice. Man, that's going to work out well for you. So we know what happened with the Aggies, and I don't want to beat that dead horse, but what are your thoughts?
I'm still convinced, so this is going to piss everyone else. Texas is not that good. We just suck. I mean, that's just is what it is. I mean, all Longhorn fans come at me. I deserve it. We suck. But I do not think Texas. I mean, Texas had 3 turnovers. They played like I don't know. I just don't see Texas being the number 2 team in the nation.
So that's
wrong. They may win the whole thing, but
I think they're gonna win the whole thing. What are you gonna say then?
Well, then I will give them credit that I was wrong.
Okay. So here, okay, I want to talk to you because I'm trying to understand this, and this is why I'm having you on the program today, not just to cry about your Aggies, but the rankings that just came out. Okay, So I've been looking at those. The Miami people are just beside themselves, but do you have an opinion on? You know, I don't think it's terrible how they did the rankings. I know that somebody's always going to get screwed, but I do kind of feel like Miami didn't play the kind of schedule that like an Alabama has to play.
Well, and that's the whole deal going into this. That nobody realizes or that everyone seems to forget every year, that you have these teams like Georgia had the toughest schedule in all of football.
Right.
And that, you know what I mean? That's just Georgia played, I think it was like 4 top 10 teams in a row. Like, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. That's crazy to me what they had to do. And, you know, so that's a proven team. That team, even if they had 3, you know what I mean, losses, fine. But Miami, they just don't have it. They don't have anything that's fitting to me. So I kind of agree with it. I do feel, you kind of feel bad for some of these teams. Yes, I mean they played, but to me, if you're not in a bigger conference and you're not playing, a solid schedule like Notre Dame. Notre Dame did everything they had to do. They lost to NIU. I get that, but they did everything they had to do to end their season the right way to get into the playoffs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like you have to do.
Yeah.
You know, and Miami didn't do that.
Right. Who do you think is gonna win the whole thing?
Think, honest to God, think Oregon will win.
Okay.
Oregon has played really good football. They beat Ohio State, which has been proven to not be easy to do at all. So that's kind of where I'm at. Sorry, I got a trash truck behind me. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Oregon
Ducks. Okay. Because I think that Georgia, Texas is in no matter what, you know, because they're Texas. Or Texas is going to be fine. You know what I mean? Even if they lose the SEC championship game, that's still, you know what I mean? I don't think that disqualifies them. However, I think the same for Georgia, but I don't know how they're going to view that one.
Right.
So we'll see kind of how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, I foresee Oregon winning it all, and I hate the Big Ten. But I mean, Oregon's played the best to me. Oregon's proven themselves over and over again. They played some good football teams. They manhandled. I know Illinois didn't get a lot of credit, but that was a pretty decent football team this year, and they absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah.
They did what they had to do in the games they needed to do them. They had some close games. They had, you know, I mean, this and that, but they did what they needed to do to win, and they remained solid throughout the year, and they beat Ohio State.
Right.
And they're not getting beat up in conference play.
Right. That's for sure.
That's what I mean, they're going to be the healthiest going in. I mean, Texas, they've got to still go in and play Georgia again. We saw what happened the first time. You know what I mean? I mean, all the SEC teams right now are riddled with injuries, riddled with, you know what I mean, just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how well the SEC teams play in the playoffs. Just given the state of, they just beat the crap out of each other.
Right. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for letting me call you today and get some good info. And I'll talk to you next week, and we'll make some picks.
Heck yeah, brother.
All right, buddy. We'll holler at you later.
All right, man. We'll see you later. Bye.
Our resident Aggie, Blake, on the breakdown. Man, he handled that pretty well. I thought that was great. He said it's not because Texas is any good, it's because we suck. That was funny. That was good. But yeah, I do still think that Texas is like the media darling, but they are beating people. They are winning. I can't stand Steve Sarkisian's white pants that he wears every weekend. I hate him. He just looks like a bad 1970s disco daddy. I just don't like it. Okay, come on, Internet. I need my phone to work because I'm about to make some picks as I close the program up here. But I'm not getting... Oh, here we go. Come on now. Come on, baby. So tonight's game, our Thursday night... Let's see here. Thursday night football. This is dead air. I haven't had dead air in a long time. I'm just having some technical difficulties on the internet side of things here. But we can talk about a little bit going into NFL because that's what I do want to do. The Steelers, my boys Steelers, are just killing it right now. And I think that goes to show when you have a coach like Mike Tomlin, who I always talk up, you're just going to do great, and you're going to be okay, and you're going to have some down seasons. But for God's sake, they didn't even really have – they rocking Kenny Pickett at quarterback for so long, or for like a year. So now you got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson that are just killing it for you. So the Steelers are in good shape. I love that. Tonight – our Thursday night breakdown game is going to be the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. This is going to be a great game. I think, okay, so the Lions are a 3-point favorite over the Packers. This is in Detroit. I think this is where the kind of voodoo element of picking games and gambling comes into play. This could be where the Lions slip, and just for a moment, because they're obviously the better team, and I'm pretty sure Jordan Love will be playing this evening. So you got Jordan Love, the Packers. This is a rivalry game up north in the cold. I don't know what the weather is. I should, but I don't. But I imagine it's not warm. I don't know. I don't know if they play in a dome or not. They probably do, but whatever. I think the Lions, this is one of those things where the gamblers are going to just hit the button on the 3 points. They're going to put their $100 or whatever they put on it. But I think the Lions could win this game. They should win this game. But this could be a won by a field goal situation, because the Packers aren't going to just be like, oh, it's the Lions. Y'all are going to kick our ass. No, they're going to go in there and play football, and they're going to play hard. So I'm gonna take the plus 3 points for the Packers, and then I'm gonna sprinkle just a couple of magical coins on the money line at plus 155 to win for the Packers. I'll probably be wrong here. This would be a good opportunity for all you breakdown listeners to go the other way from what I am picking, because the Lions should win by 3 points. They should win maybe even by a touchdown. But I think this could be different. This could be a different kind of a game. The Packers aren't chumps. They're not going to just go into tonight and be made an embarrassment of. So that's my thoughts on our Thursday night games. I'm taking the Packers plus the points. Now, on Sunday, our Sunday slate of the NFL is going to be great. I tell you where you do want to take your 6 points is the Falcons at the Vikings. The Falcons were like my early team that I loved this year. I love the old man Kirk Cousins. And, I think these guys, they rehab so hard off of an Achilles type injury. And so they rehab, they do everything right. They're eating freaking avocados and lettuce or whatever. And then the season progresses. This season is long and it's hard and it's not easy. And these guys are getting long in the tooth like Kirk Cousins, and the Falcons aren't looking like the Falcons of week 5 and 6 and 7 even. So I think Kirk Cousins threw 4 picks last weekend. Maybe it was 5. I'm not sure, but it was bad. So I think the Vikings are going to kick the crap out of the Falcons at home in Minnesota. So I would take that 6 points breakdown, fam. Okay, next cool-looking game here. You know who I love? I love Jameis Winston of the Cleveland Browns, their backup quarterback that has come in, and he lost the game the other night because he threw a pick 6 at the end there. But people like him. The guys like to play for him whenever he's in. He had a lot of shenanigans when he played for Florida State all those years ago. He's the one that coined the term, grab her by the, that was Jameis Winston. He yelled that in some pretty inappropriate areas, and he stole a bunch of crab legs from a supermarket and some things like this. So, but since then, the guy has matured so much, and it's really cool to see guys that were just knuckleheads and jackasses really grow up to be good leaders of men. And people like Jameis Winston. I like Jameis Winston. And they play the Steelers on Sunday afternoon. It's an early game. I would not want to play the Steelers right now because they got momentum. But I think it's possible. The Steelers are a 6.5 point favorite versus the Browns on Sunday. I think I would take the Browns plus the 6.5. And if the Steelers win, maybe it's by a little. But I think Jameis Winston and crew put on a great show in Pittsburgh. So good luck to them, even though the Steelers are one of our adopted teams here at the Breakdown because my son likes them. So moving on. Okay. our Las Vegas Raiders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't even know. That's 2 pirate teams. That's kind of cool, you know? The Buccaneers are not bad. Baker Mayfield is not bad. I wouldn't want to play the Buccaneers, but the Raiders are kind of like they're almost winning games. It's weird. They're like Brock Bowers, our number 1 draft pick, tight end. How about that for a name, Brock Bowers? That sounds like something that the dude that would be on Roadhouse or something like that, but with old Swayze. Have y'all seen the new Roadhouse? Did y'all watch that? I did not love it. Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, I like Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a hell of an actor. But the sequels, all these sequels that we're doing, it's just, can they just stop? You know what I mean? And they're not going to stop because they're like, oh, well, we can get, and they're not blockbusters. They're not getting a bunch of people to the theater. They're just like, we can make a couple, you know, maybe like 80 million, you know? And we'll cover the cost of the movie that costs us $65 million. Like, where's the profit there? I guess it's somewhere. I don't know. But that pisses me off. The Roadhouse. There's only one Roadhouse. There's something else here in a little bit that they're going to remake, or they're going to... Oh, Gladiator 2 just came out. I have not seen it. I will go see it because I have to. But, like, I read the Wall Street Journal just about every day. I have to catch up on it a lot. But John Anderson is a movie critic, and he's a good movie critic on the Wall Street Journal. And every weekend he'll pick a movie. And Gladiator 2, he did not have anything good to say about it. And they basically just do the same story, but then none of it makes sense. And it's just all CGI'd. And like, I mean, you're not going to beat Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. You're just not. So goodbye. Oh, and Joker 2. That movie sucked. And the first Joker in 2018, I had not been to a movie theater probably in 10 years until 2018. I don't know why. I just didn't. And I used to love going to the movies. I don't know. Maybe it's because people were shooting them up all the fucking time back then. Excuse me. But anyway, so I go to see Joker 2018. That was a fantastic movie. That was like nothing I had ever seen. And yeah, Joker 2 sucked. Sequels, you suck. I'm tired of it. Okay, that was what you call going on a rant that has nothing to do with the topic. When you have ADD, these things happen. I heard Trav in his last guest speaking about that. So we got Raiders, Buccaneers. I'll take the Raiders at 6.5 points. New York Jets, Miami Dolphins. Ouch. Dolphins by 100. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Jets, has a documentary coming out. And I think it's going to be very interesting. It's got Bobby Kennedy, Robert Kennedy Jr. in it, which is kind of cool to me on some personal reasons. But anyways, it looks pretty interesting. The guy has had a pretty crazy life and been estranged from his family for... Maybe we'll get a little more insight on the guy that made kind of who Aaron Rodgers is professionally, which is... quite frankly, hard to get along with and not a great leader, that won one Super Bowl because he had a great team. But anyways, who knows what's happening. We haven't talked about him for weeks because why? Because it doesn't matter. But I am interested in the documentary about Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Jets, Dolphins by 100. Okay, Bills, Rams. This is your afternoon, your 3:25 game. The Bills are getting towards the end of the season. They're like the Ravens this time of year, or they're better than the Ravens, but the Bills, they're either going to take it by the reins or they're going to choke this one. The Rams are looking kind of rough, but Bills 3.5 point favorite. Rams at home and Inglewood. I don't know. I'm not picking that one. I'm going to watch it, though. It seems it's going to be a great game. Chargers, Chiefs. I think the Chargers have the best chance to beat the Chiefs right now. The Chiefs are a 4.5-point favorite. That is your marquee Sunday night football game. I mean, the whole country is going to be watching that sucker. It's going to be good. Chargers are getting their momentum with John Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, the quarterback, California hairdo guy. He's looking good. He's got a little bit of swagger to him right now, and it's because I listened to a interview with the Chargers safety today, and man, he's just talking about with John Harbaugh entering the building. He's like, it feels like family. He encourages like them to bring their families to practice on like Thursday and Friday practices at the facility. And like when you have, and John Harbaugh, like he's a coach that wears cleats to practice. And he's got all these Jordan cleats, and he's doing the sleds with the guys. And I mean, I don't know how old he is, but he's like almost 60, and the dude's completely crazy and out there like slinging the ball, and I mean playing quarterback for the offense and stuff in practice. So I think if anybody has a shot at catching the Chiefs napping under their spell of Taylor Swift victory fairy dust, then I think it could be the Chargers this weekend. So I'm taking the Chargers money line, and I think that could be good. That happened. I've been this time of year. I kind of start feeling the voodoo of the gambling gods, and when you look at a game and it's like, oh yeah, well we know what's going to happen there. No, you probably don't. Go the other way. Go the other way. So, anyways, that is the breakdown for Week 11, and I'd like to thank my technical producer extraordinaire, Sam Wolf, and I'd like to thank the Neon Parrot Live Studios at the Majestic Coffee Shop. We've got another concert series on December the 12th, 13th? On Friday the 13th. That sounds cool. At the old Cotton Warehouse, there's going to be food. There's going to be lots of ways to heat ourselves and stay warm. Lots of great bands, Cash and the Change, for sure will be there. Don't miss it, guys. This is something that's really cool that we're doing in Abilene. Also, Sunday nights, open mic right here where I sit, here at the Majestic Coffee Shop. Definitely come check it out at downtown Abilene. I'd like to thank my guests today. Big Frank from Chi-Town killed it as per usual, and Blake, we caught him awake this time and gave us some good college breakdown stuff. And I hope you guys all have a great week. And movie execs, please stop making sequels now before I get really upset. All right, Sammy. Thanks, buddy. The breakdown with your host. Good. Oh, shit. Okay. Nice. Almost.